everybody, welcome back to Tempest Books. I'm Rebecca and today we are hauling something like 70 or more books. My poor book cart is about to fall over and so now we are going to take a look at what I found in the last 6 months. So I'm sorry the lighting isn't as good as it normally is. Normally I have a large door all the way open to let the sun in for my videos as well. But today there is an absurdly large tiger snake sitting next to my front door, sunning himself in like the slightly protected dappled sunlight. So I'm not gonna leave the door open today because knowing my luck, he will decide to come inside and then I'm a bit royally screwed. So we have not quite as great lighting. The snake can have his spot and we will look at books. Okay, so a large majority of my haul, probably 50 out of the 70 or more books, are secondhand. Like most of my library, I've gotten a lot of my books from thrift shops and charity shops and secondhand stores or markets. I actually had a lot of fun in the last 6 months and luck in finding books in markets. So while it looks like there might be a terribly large amount of money in this book haul, it really isn't, because a lot of these books I paid between $1 and $5 for each. There are a couple of new ones, but like I said in my last haul video, I generally tend to buy them from really large retail stores sometime after the main bookstores get them in because they're quite a lot cheaper. Okay, so two quite large books I found fairly recently actually at thrift shops is The Jackal of Nar by John Marco and Kissed by an Angel by Elizabeth Chandler. Now these books are, this one is a trilogy just in omnibus form about angels. It seems like a romance, so I thought it'd be fun. And this one is a high fantasy about a hero who's doing all this fighting for his kingdom that he really doesn't believe in. So I'm hoping it's a really good book because this is a book one, and if I like it, I'll find the rest. Now this is one of the couple of new books that I got. I found this one in an online marketplace and I was so thrilled to find it. This is called Human Errors by Nathan Lent. Now this is a book about essentially all the ways that we haven't evolved well. So the things in us that don't work, the things that, should have killed us off and stuff like that. So as someone who's had their share of medical issues, I'm looking forward to reading about just how crappy we're designed and why we don't work properly. Now this book has the most story to go with it. So this is God of Malice by Rena Kent. It's the first of the Legacy of God series. It's actually the only book I've read by her yet, but I loved it. I really, really did. It was an astounding look at psychopathy and relationships, things like that. As someone with a psychology degree and a criminology degree, it's really quite interesting to see how people portray this sort of neurodivergence. And I do love the book. I don't love this cover. I spent months, and I mean months, probably since September last year, I have been trying to find the cover of this, the discreet edition, with the gold. So with the gold leafing and the human skull on the front. That is the cover I wanted. And in my attempts to get hold of it, to get it down to my island at nearly the bottom of the world, I was sent 2 copies, I think, of this one that was wrong. One I kept, one I sent back. And I kept this one in the end because I gave up trying to find the other one. During my search, I came across 3 different websites that were forced to change their sales page because of my questions or my orders, like asking, is this particular book that you've got displayed here, which is the gold cover, the one you'll actually send? And then they've gone, oh no, actually it's not, it's this cover, because this version of the cover and the gold one had the same ISBN. And so they can sell you the gold cover one and then send you this one. And so yeah, three websites were forced to update their page so that the correct cover was shown, and one eBay seller took down their page completely, or took down their sale page completely to change it, because I asked them the same question, would you be sending me the cover that you're actually displaying? And no, they wouldn't. And so now, after many months, I have given up. I have not been able to find anyone in any store anywhere that will be able to send me the cover that I want for under about 150 Australian dollars. So yes, I have given up, and this is the cover I will keep. But never mind, it's a good book. I would actually like to do a video in the future about how psychopathy is portrayed in this book, you know, the various traits that the main character has, how well it sticks to, you know, what the DSM-5 thinks of as the various traits that people who come under the umbrella of psychopathy have, things like that. It would be really interesting, I think. So if nothing else, I will use this book with highlighting and tabs, because it'll almost be like a work project. So this 4-book find on eBay was something I was really, really pleased with. I've been keeping an eye on this it's the Never King series. It's a dark Peter Pan retelling quartet. But unfortunately I could only find them on Amazon, and they were really quite expensive for how small they were, especially when, you know, you put shipping down to Tasmania in. So it has just been kind of sitting in my wish list on Amazon for like a year or more, and I stumbled across the complete series on eBay for a really cheap price. I'm like, oh, yes, thank you, awesome, so happy. So I now have the complete quartet of that in basically near new condition. It almost doesn't even look like they've been read. So that will be so fun. I do love my dark romance, and I'm looking forward to getting into these ones. I've had my eye on this particular author for a little while, Adrian Tchaikovsky, I think that's how you say it. This is the first in a trilogy in one of his sci-fi series, The Children of Time. It's actually the first time I'd ever seen it in a secondhand store as well. So I grabbed it when I saw it, and it was a little bit funny. Actually, I paid $10 for it, which was actually a lot more than any of the other books that I paid for. And then I turned it over later after I'd left the market, because I found it in a market. And obviously he had paid $3 for it. So that vendor got a lot more out of me than he paid for the book. So, you know, good on him. Silly me for not seeing their extra price tag on the back. But never mind. I'm looking forward to this because I do love my sci-fi. And like I said, I've had an eye on this author for a while. So hopefully this first book in the trilogy will be good, and I'll be able to find the rest secondhand somewhere. So these are 2 books that I got from a large department store, so they weren't too expensive. It is the second in Jacksonville Ray series. I have the first one. I haven't read it, but from what I've heard elsewhere and the synopsis, it sounds like it will be a nice, fun, light read. Well, this one is one of the books in the Brutal Birthright series. It is apparently a dark mafia romance. It isn't the first book, but it is the first of the series to go to that department store. So when I saw it, I grabbed it. Hopefully the rest of the series will wander its way into that store as well, and I'll be able to collect it, because I love the Sinner's duology that she wrote, so like the dark serial killer romance. I'm looking forward to seeing if this one is just as dark and gory. So as a Christmas present from some of my family, I was given some money on Amazon to buy some books, and these are the books that I got. So the first one is The Posh Prepper by Todd Knight. This is a debut book by this author, and it was awesome. I loved it. I've already finished reading it this month, and I'm going to do a review video on it soon. I really did like this particular take on the apocalypse. It completely blew what I thought it was going to be out of the water. So I look forward to doing that video very soon. So another 2 books out of that particular book block that I got are books 2 and 3 of the Souls trilogy by Harley LaRue. Now I have book 1 on order, but for some reason you can't get it. I can't actually get it shipped to me yet. It's being re-released, I think, with an extra chapter. So I'll have to wait a little while for it to actually get here for me to read. So these will sit unread on my bookshelf for a little while, which I'm a bit bummed about, but I do want to read them in order, so that's okay. We'll get to them eventually. It's odd at the moment, the books that Amazon has sent out in the last 6 months or so have been ever so slightly oddly shaped. So they're a little bit taller than a normal book would be for that size, and they're also a tiny bit thinner. Not really enough, I suppose, to properly complain about, but enough to be slightly weird and make me not sure how I feel about it. The last book I got in that order was A Ship of Bones and Teeth. Now, I believe this is a Little Mermaid dark retelling. And frankly, Little Mermaid was my favourite Disney princess growing up. And so, you know what? Turn it dark. That's fine by me. Let's see what happens. So these books that I got were the completion of a couple of trilogies that I have that I'm really glad that I have completed, because now I can read them. So we've got Destroy the Day by Bridget Kimler. This is the final book in this trilogy, so I will be glad that it's finally done and I can read it, because I really, really do prefer to actually have a series before I do a complete read through. I hate waiting. These are the 2 books I needed in the Woven Kingdom series by Tahara Murphy. So, oh, and thankfully this is just a sticker, it's not a print. I hate it when they print the sticker as part of the cover. That drives me mad. It is like a pet peeve for books. So yeah, again, this is another trilogy, finally completed, now I can read it properly. So this book I found is by an author I've never even heard of before, and it is so old it doesn't even have a barcode on the back. But this is Millennium by John Varley, and it is a kind of sci-fi, kind of futuristic, time travel, has conspiracy in it. So it sounds like it was really quite interesting. I'm not sure if I should be putting it in the mystery section or the sci-fi section, or maybe even the apocalypse section. We'll have to see. So 3 of the books in this haul actually I also found in a gaming store that had an odd little book section, and in it had all 3 of the prequel books to the Mortal Engines series by Philip Reeve. Now, I loved the first book. I was led to read it by the movie, which wasn't so bad, so I figured the book had to be better. So now I also have the prequel trilogy that frankly I didn't actually even know existed. So yes, this is a good find, and the other 2 are in there somewhere. So the most recent book I found at a thrift store is actually based in Tasmania. Yay, home state, getting some representation. So this is about our signature animal, Tasmanian devils. It has the potential to end the world with a conspiracy, and at the centre of that is the Tasmanian devils. I'm not sure how that works, but I'm looking forward to reading it. The author is John Honey. The book name is Threatened Species. So I'm not sure when this one was published. So this was published back in 2005. So I wonder if reading it now or these years later, I'll be able to look at it and go, you were onto something, man. Okay, so this one I also found in a thrift store, and it is very much a conspiracy, solve the clues, ancient mystery, is it going to affect the world sort of book. We've got Dante's Equation by Jane Jensen. A terrifying weapon from the future, an extraordinary current mystery, and a coded message from the past. So yeah, that sounds right up my alley. So initially, I actually grabbed this one off the shelf because the cover looked awesome. And it is quite awesome. Look at that. But this one, it just seems is a mystery to do with an abandoned car in the snow. So I don't know. It looked really cool, and then I read the inside and it sounded really cool, so I just grabbed it. Okay. So this book I will be reading this month. I am buddy reading it with one of the people in the book Discord I'm a part of, Ararat, Christopher Golden. So this is also the book that I wanted to read from my 5 authors for 2024 video. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I'm so glad it's finally come. It's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. It's like itty bitty, but that's fine. And it's got, you know, monsters, it's got ancient mystery, it's got mythology in it, so yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This one was another lucky find from eBay. This one is the Darwin Strain by Sutton Finch. Now this is actually book 3 of a series. I have book 2 there, somewhere up there, and I have book 1 sitting in a cart, I think in eBay as well, which I will get probably in June. So I won't be able to read this series anytime soon, but I will in June. This follows a person who is very similar to people from the book series like Nina Wild and Eddie Chase from Annie McDermott, solving ancient mysteries, but doing so back in the 40s under, you know, the banner of the Second World War, and how the discoveries of ancient mysteries that they solve may actually affect the future of that war going forward. I think that's how it seems to have come across. I'll let you know when I've read the trilogy. So we've got here the other 2 from the prequel trilogy for the Mortal Engines series. And they're such beautiful covers. I'm really, really glad that they all match. It's actually astounding. All the books that I have from that series and the prequel series, they're all the same artwork and they're all the same size, and that's frankly a miracle. So there are plenty of my friends and family that bemoan my terrible, terrible taste in movies. And I do love terrible movies. Like, I have some absolute favourites that everyone else just shakes their head at. And one of them is AVP. I quite like the first AVP movie. I just treat it as its own little universe. It doesn't have to be attached to the proper Preds universe. It doesn't have to be attached to the proper Aliens one. It's an awesome little movie all on its own. And I found the book to go with it, and I was so pleased with that. I was just ecstatic. It was excellent as far as I'm concerned. It even came with these little plates of various pictures from throughout the movie. That was originally a part of the actual book itself, but when I got home they all fell out. But never mind. I'm hoping that I enjoy reading the novelization of the movie as much as I like the movie. Okay, so this is Blighted Star by Megan O'Keefe, and this is an author I've wanted to try for a while. I wanted to try and read her Velocity Weapon series, which is another sci-fi series, and I haven't been able to get a hold of it, but all of a sudden this one popped up in a bookshop, and I know there is a book 2 out there, and I don't believe book 3 has been released yet. It's supposed to be a trilogy. I started it already, even though I try never to start books that I don't have the complete ability to get complete of. But it's so good so far. It's really interesting. It's already taken on the fact that this world, this version of the universe has basically found a kind of functional immortality in the ability to upload their brain print. So it's like your brain gets scanned, and then when you die, it quickly loads you into a new body. Kind of feeling a little bit altered carbon almost. So we'll see how that one goes. So one of the thrift shops I went to had a specific sci-fi section that was full. Well, it's like normally when I go to that store, there's only a couple books there, but obviously someone donated their sci-fi shelf because I found a bunch of cool sci-fis on that normally empty shelf. So we've got a couple from Greg Bear. Now I do like him as an author. I already have several of his books. Also alongside Stephen Baxter, I have several of his books as well. And then there was a new one in there, which is a really, really weird shape, but still cool. So again, a couple of awesome sci-fis here. And this one is about an orbital garbage collector, which I have never considered as a job in the future, but sounds like it'd be cool. These two, I believe, are a duology that I completed. And this one is about someone who looks at a moon rock several decades after it came to Earth and then goes, oh bugger, I think I just ended the world. So yeah, that one, I hope that one's a standalone. I really, really do. We're getting there. It's half empty. Whoops. Yay, we're almost half done. So in the same store that I found the sci-fi books, I actually found a really, really old copy of Michael Crichton's Andromeda Strain. I love this book. It had such a big potential for apocalypse in it. It obviously it didn't get that far, but it was still awesome. So I really quite like this, and I liked the sequel book that came out later, The Andromeda Evolution. So I'm really glad to have finally found my own copy of this book, even if it is 15 or 20 years older than I am. It's like, this book's been around on the earth longer than I have, man. Okay, so this one is Antarctica by Kim Stanley Robertson. I have a few of their books already on my shelf. I do quite like the writing. This one is about Antarctica, and it is apparently a modern sci-fi eco-thriller. So it's already back then talking about, I believe, what's going to happen when the ice caps melt. And as the last unstripped wilderness of the world, it is about to become a free-for-all. So, and the radical group who is willing to protect it at all costs. So I wonder what that cost is going to be. Now this next find is actually admittedly a book I already have, but it is a very, very small book in an omnibus edition. And so when I found these amazing covers of the same book, the book set, I had to get them. I do love this series. I've read it before, and these books in a secondhand store, they are new, they've never been read, and I paid $2 for them each. And as far as I'm concerned, that is a treasure story. It really is. So another non-fiction book I found in the last few months is The Dragon Syndicates by Martin Booth. Now this is a take on the Chinese triad and its various influences in various countries, and its tagline on the back is, according to UN sources, the triad poses the greatest potential criminal threat the world has ever known. And so this is a look at what we know about them essentially, apparently. So that I'm going to find very interesting to read. Okay, so this next book we have is a bit of an odd one for me to have grabbed. It's called Tutankhamun, and it's by Nick Drake. Now this book actually takes place in ancient Egypt in 1324 BC, and it is from basically a policeman's point of view. So the chief detective in Thebes called Rahotep. And it is about a conspiracy in the throne of Tutankhamun. So I'm looking forward to that. That sounds really interesting to me. Okay, so two more books that I found in a market is The Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell and Inherit the Earth by Brian Stableford. So this one is apparently a story that spans a lot of generations and right into a post-apocalyptic future. I looked at the words of post-apocalyptic and went, yes, thank you, I'll have that. So we'll see how that one goes. It's a pretty cover. And I do believe I have heard the name. I've heard it about it spoken before. So who knows, it might be really cool. This one is just a sci-fi. This one is a sci-fi about our kind of dystopian future after the plague wars, and one particular artist who works in the majority of virtual reality. So sounds interesting. So this one attracted my eye by the cover. We've got Leviathan by Rosie Andrews. Now I initially just went, it doesn't sound too bad, and then it got to the end of the synopsis and talked about that there was a monster waking up. I went, okay, yeah, sure, I'll try it. It's got monsters in it. So this is the last book I got from the Fairy Loot crate that I was subscribed to. I was only subscribed for a couple of months because unfortunately it just ended up being too expensive for me. I was holding on until one particular book came that I really wanted. And so after I got that book and this final one had been shipped, I cancelled the subscription. But this one is a really, really beautiful book. I have to say I love the art and the effort that has gone into the crate books, because frankly they are astounding, and I do truly wish that I had the ability to be able to get some of the other ones, but unfortunately once you do conversion to like the Australian dollar and then you add shipping, it is just cost prohibitive in the end. But this one, it looked so cool and it doesn't sound too bad. A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft. I don't remember what it was about, but it looked gorgeous. So it was a nice way to end the subscription I had. So this one is a book that I bought new as well. This is the first 3 books of the Drizzt series, Dungeons and Dragons kind of Forgotten Realm world. Now we can thank Nemor over at Nemor's Book Nook for me getting this, because I have been watching his videos and talking to him in Discord about how much he loves the Drizzt series, and I'm entirely sure I have at least read the first one probably 15 or 20 years ago. And so when I saw this in a bookshop, I thought, you know what, I'm definitely going to get it and reread it because I want to see if I can love it as much as he does. Another thrift shop book find that I thought was really cool. This is the Dreamseeker trilogy by Jennifer Oldfield, and this is written about a young Sioux warrior who is going on a dangerous journey to save his people from the threat of the Comanche tribe. So I've never read anything fictional from this sort of perspective, so I'm really looking forward to the culture from this book. I really hope that it is something that can give me a perspective I've never had before. So I'm looking forward to this. Okay, so this month I also went and saw the movie Argylle because it has some of my favourite actresses and actors in it ever. So the movie was amazing and I loved it, and now I want to read the book. So once I'd seen the movie and remembered that the book was in one of the big department stores I go to, I'm like, yes, I'm going to get it because now I have to read it. So I am so hoping that this book is as good as the movie was. So another 3 books I found in the thrift shops was another 3 Simon Green books. Now, a couple of them are the urban fantasy he writes, and this one is the beginning of a sci-fi series. I'm fairly sure that someone in southern Tasmania has just donated their whole Simon Green collection to St Vincent de Paul's charity shop, because they keep cropping up only in that shop. And I'm ferreting around all the stores trying to collect them all. I think I've found a half a dozen other than these 3 so far. I really like his writing, and I want to try and find them all. But I can't, because obviously the person who has donated them has put in a big bag or 2, and that bag has gone to the warehouse. And so whenever one of the stores needs some more books, a bunch of the books are grabbed, and a couple of them might be the Simon Green ones. So I'm probably never going to be able to find all the books that person has donated, but I've managed to find some, and so I've got to be happy with that. So I got very lucky in the fact that one of the big department stores got an influx of really quite popular books for quite a cheap price, and I was able to grab them. So this one, Babel by R.F. Kang, has been out for quite a while, and it has only just come to this particular department store, so I thought, yes, I'll grab that one. I actually really like the cover too. I hate the fact that this isn't a sticker. It's stuck on there, but oh well. But yeah, I'm looking forward. I've had my eye on this book for quite a while, so I'm really glad it finally came to the department store. So The God Killer by Hannah Kaner. This is the first book. The second book is due out later this year, I believe. I've heard about this book from the Discord community I'm part of, and so I grabbed it once I saw it was in the store. I'm really quite pleased to see it, and it's actually a really beautiful cover too. I'm looking forward to reading about people running around killing gods, because, you know, they're not obviously that godly if we can off them. So, the next one that comes out, I really like the fact that the art is maintaining just this really gorgeous look. So we've also got The Atlas Complex by Olivia Blake. I have the other two books. I believe this is now the end of the series. I think it's a completed trilogy now, maybe. Let me know if I'm wrong. And so now that I've got them all, I will get back into reading the first one, because I like the part of the first one that I read, which is why I stopped reading it, so I could complete it when the trilogy was complete. So yes, it's a beautiful book. My only bum about the whole series was I started reading it so late that I've got the second and third book in this size and the first one in little, but never mind. Another book that I grabbed that it is in the larger version that I only have the little one of the first one in is the Map of the Other Lands by Emily Wilde. I have the first book, I liked it, I loved its ending, so I will actually be glad to read this one. I'm not sure if it's meant to be a trilogy, obviously, because I haven't read the second one yet, but I do love the artwork. The artwork is really nice. I wish I had the first one in a big size as well. So this one was my most surprising thrift shop find. We've got The Phantom by Greer Rivers. This is a dark Phantom of the Opera retelling that I had actually had on my Amazon, like, kind of look at it and wish you could get at some point soon list for about a year, and I was never going to get it because it was just going to be too expensive to buy and ship down to me. Because the price was just never going down on this particular book. So I found it in the Finnies shop, and it was like $2. I'm like, holy crap, someone's smiling on me today. Yes, thank you, I'll have that one. And then I so delightedly deleted it out of my cart once I got home. So I never thought I'd get this book, and then to find it at a thrift shop, I was so pleased. I have several of this series of books, so the books that I've just done in this kind of cover. I do love mythology. I spent a little while at university actually doing ancient history and ancient mythology, or just old. So to find this book in a store when they're normally about $45 for $15 instead, and about a culture that I've never really read too much about, I was very excited to find. So I'm really looking forward to learning more about this particular culture. So this one is an almost apocalypse book, I think. We've got Sunfire by Jim Al-Kahali, and this is about the near future when the Earth is in trouble, megastorms, various things that are basically just kind of falling apart in our atmosphere, and 3 scientists want to reactivate the world's magnetic field that is, dodging out by putting dark matter in it. I don't know a lot about dark matter, but that sounds like it'd be a really cool way to do things. So this is going to definitely be high on my TBR. A couple of people in my book Discord are planning on reading Metro 2033 in the near future, and I'm like, yes, I want to do that. I have that book. And then one of the people said, oh, do you have book 2 and 3? And I'm like, wait, there's a book 2 and 3? Oh dear. So I immediately found the only copy that I could find of book 2. I cannot find book 3 anywhere, but that's fine. I will find it eventually, if I like the first book that I will buddy read with my Discord friends. So this one was another awesome eBay find. It was the final book I needed in a set about prophecies that are trying to end the world. So now that I actually have all the books again, I'll be able to start reading the series, because I had this terrible habit. I'll get partway into book 1, I love it, realize there's more than 1 or 2 books, go crap, have to collect the rest of the series, then I can read it. So this one will go, I think the rest of the series is about there somewhere. So this one will go with that, and I'll get into reading it. Was another cool find to do with biblical prophecies and ending the world. We've got The Harbinger by Nathan Kahn. So this one is a fairly short one, but it's an ancient mystery, could end the world. One person knows about the biblical prophecy, poor old guy's now got to save the world, is what it seems to be. So that one will be a nice short read that I'll knock over in a day or 2. Okay, the final book, we're done. Thank you so much for you guys hanging around. This one is my most beloved Warhammer series. So we've got Gortrek without Felix. No Felix in this one. Now I have the complete Gotrek and Felix series that is based in Warhammer Fantasy World. Now technically, that world has ended. But I do not want to talk about the Age of Sigmar. I've never read anything about the Age of Sigmar. I determined that I wouldn't until I found this book. And it is the emergence of Gotrek out of the hellish realm that he was in, into this new Age of Sigmar, the new realm. And I'm going to read it because it's Gotrek. And apparently he's trying to find Felix. You know, fan theory is that Felix has been reborn as a Stormcast Eternal, but, you know, really, if he's a Stormcast Eternal, it's not like there's anything left of himself to be Felix. So I really don't know if you can count that. But apparently he spends time searching for Felix. There are, I believe, 3 books total already, barring this first one, so that there are 3 more after that. So I'm hoping that means that they'll make an omnibus like the omnibus that I have. And hopefully very soon I'll actually be doing a video trying to convince you that you should give Warhammer Fantasy a chance, because it's not just a universe each of just books that you can read without ever having to play the game. So I'll be doing a video on that soon in an attempt to convert people to these amazing book series. So I will now put my nice empty cart to the side and you can start collecting again, although I probably will not be doing another haul video until June, which is when I will do my birthday book haul. It is my plan to make a new tradition. I'm going to celebrate getting older by getting an extra book each year. So for each year that I turn, I get to have that many books. And so each year I get an extra one. So I plan to celebrate my birthday with an awesome book haul. So that's the next time we will be doing this. So thank you guys for hanging with me and getting to meet my amazing pile of books that I'm now going to go and find places for in the library. Let me know what you thought of them. Did I buy too many? Probably. But I'm not ashamed, because so many of them were for thrift shops and I paid so little for them. So I am not ashamed of having so many books. I am happy with my amazing book library. I am collecting for retirement. I am future-proofing my happiness. All right, guys. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.